Hello everybody, welcome to Rising Sun Japanese, where we're actually going to start talking about Japanese culture. Hooray! What is up, my name is Sam Hawk and welcome to the 6th, I believe, lesson of Rising Sun Japanese. And for the first time we're actually going to kind of move away from doing, well, we're still going to be doing Japanese language stuff, but we're going to do Japanese culture things, which, let's be honest, is way more interesting than me going, and I remember this by saying for antenna and having to do like all the editing. So I'm thinking, so I might do a couple more of these. I'll try and space them out a bit so like people who want to find out about the language can find out about the language, and people can find out about anime over time. Also, as always, you can just tell me what you want to see in the comments, but for today we're going to be doing anime and manga, and we're going to start off with some pretty basic questions. First off, what is anime and manga? Most of you probably already know this, but for the people who don't know, anime is basically just Japanese animation. Now admittedly, there are some kind of talks of like, ooh, should we class these things as anime, like Avatar, even though it technically wasn't Japanese, but it's in the style. But for now, let's just keep it simple and say that anime is just animation that has been made in Japan. And it's kind of funny when you think about it, because the way that it's actually called anime is because we obviously have the English word animation for like cartoons and stuff, and in the Japanese language we have animation because it's like a loan word, and that is shortened to anime commonly. And now we take anime and make that a loan word going into English, meaning just specifically Japanese animation. In a similar way, we have manga. Manga in Japanese is just a word to define all comics, including Teen Titans 1, which is a thing that I like a lot. I love Beast Boy. When it became a loan word in English, it translates into specifically Japanese comics. Where do the storylines for Japanese anime come from? I say this primarily because we can be like, yeah, manga exists and then anime usually exists, and then it's actually kind of interesting because then there's sometimes divergence of plots and stuff. But what's also cool, and is probably going to be like, ooh, stuff you don't actually know, is that quite a lot of it is based on other mediums. For example, we have video games, so we've got like Pokemon becoming an anime. Another thing that we have quite a bit of are what are known as visual novels, which are essentially kind of storylines and kind of, I think at times they tend to be kind of a bit choose your own adventure, so you can go in different pathways. Otome date games, which is just kind of dating simulators. And can I just say, I've watched an anime based on an otome dating simulator. Not good. The resources include light novels, and then you kind of have like miscellaneous stuff. For example, Del Toro Quest, which is an English series by Emily Rodda, was made into an anime a few years ago. And you also have original storylines. So for example, Anohana was an anime first. Like, they did have like manga afterwards, but anime was the first thing that was made of that. Also, it makes me cry so much. What kind of anime do you recommend? Probably going to do another video dedicated to just a whole bunch of like genres and stuff I recommend from them, but just as kind of a preliminary kind of introduction, I'd start off with Death Note, because it's probably one of the most widely watched animes, and it was the first one that I actually watched when I was getting back into it like a few years ago. Full Metal Alchemist is also amazing. And as for shorter stuff, I'd recommend Baccano, and on the shorter side, I'd recommend Baccano, even though it's a non-linear plot, so that might confuse some people. And it actually has a lot of characters, similar to Durarara, which has tons of characters, but both of them are very, very fulfilling. Finally, as previously mentioned, Anohana. It is so sad, but it is such a good storyline, and it is one of the shortest animes I've watched. It's only 11 episodes, so you can watch it in an afternoon, and then also please film yourself watching the end, because you will cry. Go to my main channel. It was terrible. In a good way. Like, it's a really good ending and it's a really good summary, but I have never cried that much. Just Ugh. And finally, one last thing that I would like to add onto this is places that you can go for anime viewing and all that stuff. First up, for anime viewing, quite a lot of the English dubbing sites actually have their own stuff. So I've seen stuff for Funimation, for Mad Men. It depends, I guess, on where you are. I don't know if you have different English ones in America and stuff. But one thing that you can actually get in quite a lot of countries, including Australia, which is just a miracle, is Crunchyroll. There are kind of like, oh, you can get more if you do premium membership, but I've just had it on free, and you can like watch like so much stuff just with the free membership kind of stuff. And the other thing that I would recommend is that there are quite a lot of manga reading sites. So I believe the two that I use the most are Manga Reader and Manga Fox. They're free services. You can just look at that stuff online, free of charge. You don't have to sign up. All that jazz. I don't know, maybe get My Anime List. I think that's a really cool way of like figuring out which animes you've watched and which you haven't. Anyway, please subscribe to the collaboration channel because there are actually other people on here. So awesome! If you would like to subscribe to my channel where I talk about reviews and other things, I talk about lots of stuff. There is a link in the description. Please click on it and subscribe to that too. And I don't know, like this video and comment. I've already told you all the things to comment. So I'll see you next Friday, I guess.